How many Americans starve to death each year? I actually think this is a very good question. The immediate, easy answer is that there are so few Americans who starve to death annually, we don't track it. People who starve to death in America are rural, helpless, elderly, mentally ill, abandoned, disabled, the dying who stop eating, and people with disorders physically or mentally. It is more accurate to talk about knowing hunger in America. While it is true that we have an obesity epidemic, rising diabetes, and other issues around eating unhealthily and in large quantity, there is only a small overlap with the issue of hunger. Poor people sometimes eat unhealthily because they are stretching their food money, they are eating less to feed their children, they lack skills to purchase and prepare food, or they eat junk because they are unhappy. That is the overlap with obesity and related issues. Certainly, there are plenty of wealthy obese who have no such reasons. Compared to some countries, Americans are lucky. We still have a social safety net. It isn't enough, and you have to suffer to have it, but we aren't starving to death. This is where knowing hunger comes in. As a teenager, my mother and I lived on what she could procure working a minimum wage job and growing a large garden. We lived out of that garden. She worked full-time and went to school full-time. I worked in the cafeteria at school to earn a free lunch. This was the 1970s. I was never starving, but I was occasionally hungry because we rationed food. When I first left home, my husband and I struggled to work and go to school. It wasn't until we were diagnosed with malnutrition that we went and applied for food stamps. We worked earning minimum wage, went to school, and used food stamps, and we knew hunger. My first year, as a single, disabled American, I lost 40 pounds because I lacked enough to eat. It was pretty amazing to be back on food stamps after having earned 2 degrees, raising kids, and working. I am now in my 50s and rent a room. I really know how to stretch a buck. I know a lot about nutrition and healthy eating. After having lost everything in the dot-bomb downturn, the stock market crash, the housing bubble, and then getting sick, the only thing left is my life. With recent developments in healthcare in America, we'll see if I can hang on to that. But I once again know hunger. How lucky I am that I don't live in a third world country where I would starve in the street.